Hello everyone, happy Monday and welcome back to the Plutonium Show.
Welcome back.
Thank you so much for joining us. Before we start off with the agenda for today, we would both like to send our best wishes to Princess Catherine, who is currently recuperating at hospital after her procedure. So yeah, we wish her all the best.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a speedy recovery.
And hopefully she'll be home soon, before she knows it, back with her children and her husband. And hopefully we'll see her around Easter is what they're predicting. So all the best to her. What a beautiful soul. And also our King Charles.
Yes, absolutely. He's also going in under.
Yes, for a minor procedure. Just a very common thing that happens to men at his age, enlarged prostate, my understanding. And good on him for raising awareness by making it public.
Yeah, these things need to be normalized because unfortunately men are pretty bad at going to the doctors.
Yes, men tend to kind of keep quiet and fight through things, or they just think, oh, it'll pass. And then it doesn't pass and it only gets worse. Sometimes, of course, I'm not talking about, basic things like we call the man flu, because we women can just, march through and march on with the flu and no one would even know. But men are like, oh, I can barely breathe.
Okay, maybe not every man, but...
All right, so the agenda for today. Firstly, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about how thoroughly impressed I am with the community here on YouTube with our accurate predictions of things. Because, we're all very observant. We all comment on things as they happen. And then people like the media dismiss us as YouTubers and we don't know anything. And then lo and behold, a book comes out written by a very, respectable author who has thoroughly researched, has sources, etc., backing up everything that we commented on in real time.
Fancy that.
For example, the Oprah Winfrey racism lies. I'm not going to go through any detail, but all of us called it out.
Yep.
And then, lo and behold, we didn't even need an author. Harry himself said, we never said the family was racist.
Backtrack.
Speaking of which, why don't they give back that Ripple of Hope award then? The one they probably paid for. I don't know if it's true. You guys know how there's a lot of speculation about every single award of theirs being bought.
As there should be, because speculation needs to just go alongside everything Harry and Meghan do.
Well, because we never know the truth.
Absolutely, because they would never tell you the truth.
Yep. And we all talked about how every time they had a pseudo-fake royal tour or they went to, Harlem and all those humanitarian missions and efforts, not missions, but these little events they organized with a Netflix crew in tow.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about royal events. They don't normally need TV presenters to follow them.
Well, even if they do, when it's royalty, that's their job.
Yeah, and it's not like, hey, you're in on this. We're going to give you the scoop. It's not. Royalty's there. People with cameras will be there. And they're separate entities.
Well, they are symbiotic. So they work together. But that's because the royal family's job is to raise awareness to these charitable events and organizations. But they don't pocket anything.
Yeah, big difference.
It's all done altruistically. But Meghan and Harry, they were paid millions for that Netflix show where they invaded people's privacy and used children to make a quick buck. It's disgusting.
The only thing that Harry and Meghan are raising awareness to is the size of their ego.
Yes, which actually has been helping a lot of people open their eyes to the truth of these personalities. And you can start detecting them in your own lives because they're everywhere, unfortunately. And then, of course, now we hear about all these, we've all been saying for years, and people up until my most recent video, The Obsession, it's not my most recent, but a recent video, The Obsession, I had people going, you're crazy. You're imagining things that Meghan and Harry time press releases on purpose to overshadow the other royals. It's like, no, I'm not crazy. You're the ones who've been either sleeping under a rock or you don't have a single brain cell. Because it is crystal clear. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize the perfect pattern, the unbreakable pattern that has persisted over the past 5 years now, I would say since 2019, of timed Sussex releases. And guess what? It's been confirmed in a book. This is the latest book by Robert Hardman, I believe, where he details that Meghan and Harry launched an extraordinary 12-week campaign to overshadow King Charles's early reign.
Yep, always on purpose, because the idea of a press release, and maybe, these people don't understand this very simple thing. Press releases are always strategic. No one just randomly does a press release. Both time zone and outside factors are always considered. In fact, some press releases will be changed because of other events, right?
Exactly.
So in this case, all the press releases from Meghan and Harry are designed to attack the royal family, just as everything they've done, even pretending not to attack the royal family, everything they've done has been against them.
Yeah, I mean, here we have examples listed. On the 27th of October, 2022, the Royal Mint announced that the first coins had been minted, featuring the new king, but the historic occasion was soon eclipsed when Harry dropped a surprise teaser about his tell-all memoir Spare, or Wah, the exact same day. Now, again, I'm not going to go through this because we have a lot to talk about, but that's just one example. Of course, we know the Netflix series dropped over Christmas, which eclipsed the king's first Christmas speech, etc., etc., etc.
The irony being that Christmas is normally associated all over the world for, people who celebrate Christmas, and even some who don't, as a family occasion. And the anti-family, the complete opposite of family, is the way Meghan and Harry treat the royal family, or their own families, I should say, because Meghan's family is involved in this. So it's very ironic that they released it around Christmas.
Harry hasn't had a good week so far. So firstly, we hear that he's been dropped, not officially, but all but, as a counsellor of state alongside his disgraced uncle, Prince Andrew, and his cousin, Princess Beatrice. So the clear message being, you're either a full-time royal, committed to the job, or you're sidelined, which is what we've all been calling for with this counsellor of state for years at this point. I mean, number one, I would have thought that this would have happened far earlier, because isn't it a requirement for a counsellor of state to have a residence in the UK?
Yeah, and he's not been living in the UK for a very long time now.
For 4 years now, and he doesn't even have a permanent residence there. Let's say he lived in the US, but he came to Frogmore or wherever he lived, he chooses to live, every once in a while. There's, he doesn't even have that, let alone the fact that he is basically a traitor.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, in what world you'd want someone like him to sit as a counsellor of state, someone to step in and represent the monarch if the monarch is out of action?
Someone who, because the royal family is meant to represent the British people, yet Harry doesn't like the British people. And even if you wanted to put aside his comments alone, Meghan's also said her own things about the British people, which means that even by affiliation, even by standing alongside that person who has said such horrendous things about the people who are your own, then that's enough to be a traitor, I'd say.
Yeah, and he just stands there and lets her do it. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Just like he sat there and let her mock the curtsy to the Queen.
Yep.
On that Netflix show. So, about time, I say. The other thing that happened, and this is the hotter topic, is the fact that he chose to drop his defamation, or I should say specifically libel case, against the Mail, Associated Newspapers, I believe, which he launched 2 years ago when they published that he only changed his story about offering to pay for security when news was leaked about the fact that he wants tax-funded security. And so the story was he's manipulating the public.
Yep.
So that's why he sued for defamation, and he's arguing, they tarnished my reputation, make me look like a dishonest person. And I'm like, I think you and your wife have done an excellent job of doing that all on your own, Harry.
If he was worried about being a dishonest person, he would have alienated himself from Meghan a very long time ago, because as far as reputation goes, just like everyone else, simply being associated with her is enough, let alone the fact that he can be a bit of a wild card on his own. He's had his own, missteps, shall we call them, before Meghan, but now he cares about his reputation. Now that it's someone else exposing him, not just himself. No.
It's funny, now he cares about his reputation. And then when he was around our age, he chose to strip naked in Las Vegas.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
It's just despicable. I'm sorry. You are not that young
Oh.
when it comes to that behavior.
And I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but a poor choice of Halloween costume at some point.
Yeah. Which he conveniently blamed on Catherine and William.
Oh, it's Catherine and William that made him do it. But hold on a second. Then what if he's so easily influenced? What's Megan making him do?
Exactly.
Is he going to come out one day and go, "Oh, Megan made me do this"? No, Harry, you are your own person.
Yeah, well, that's funny you say that, because whenever people do assign blame, or most of the blame, to Megan, he says, that's sexist. The term Megxit is sexist. I chose to remove my family from a toxic situation. Please. She plays you like a ring on her finger. The engagement ring that she has now not worn for a very long time, by the way.
Yeah, and I think she would attribute more value to the rings on her finger than Harry, based on the way we see them treat each other.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Just what it looks like. So the thing about this case, though, that really caught my attention, not just, because I'm a lawyer, literally as anyone listening, is he pursued a summary judgment. That's how gung-ho he was about this whole thing. That's how confident he was about winning. When you tell a judge, I want you to find for me without going to trial, which is what a summary judgment is, that means you're all set. And in case it has to go to trial, you've got all the evidence to back you up.
Yep, that's what it sounds like. Well, at least it would sound like that if it was anyone else. But it's Harry. So instead, it sounds like a spoiled brat going, do this for me because I'm a prince.
Pretty much, which, Meghan tried that tactic and she was successful with her privacy and copyright claim. So I suppose I suppose the thinking was, let's try that again. Except this time it didn't work. I mean, let's face it, when Meghan launched that case, it was 2019. They were still full-time royals. Maybe the courts were still biased towards the royal family. I don't know. A lot of people say that was the case. I remember reading the judgment and going through it and thinking, without knowing the background, to be fair, on my part, didn't know about the leaking of the letter and all that. I thought it was a fair judgment.
Yeah.
But then when you find out more context, you go, I don't know, man, this is really fishy. And of course, it's thanks to that case that we knew about their collaboration, their lies about finding freedom.
Yep.
So what happened here is pursued a summary judgment. Judge said no. I think that the defendant's defense of honest opinion has a real prospect of success. And in the law, that is the test to determine whether to proceed to a summary trial, or summary judgment rather, or not. If the defense doesn't have any real prospect of success, what's the point of wasting time and resources on a trial?
Exactly, because these things cost money and it's normally taxpayer money.
Exactly. So we'll just make a summary judgment. Well, in this case, the judge said no. And I believe it was on the day that Harry was due to submit documents, as part of the discovery process, that he pulled out. Now, of course, naturally, that's led people to speculate what's in these documents that Harry doesn't want us to know. There are people that say that there is a letter from the Queen's then private secretary telling someone else that Harry said. It's a lot of hearsay. It's a lot of, I heard that, someone said this. Basically saying that Harry said during the Sandringham Summit in 2020 that he and Meghan didn't have any money to pay for security. Which is very strong evidence against Harry's claim that he offered to pay for security.
Yeah, that's the complete opposite.
Exactly. So the defendant would say, well, he said that, which means we were right in saying or forming an honest opinion based on this material or based on other information, because I don't think they had access to that particular piece of evidence yet. But the argument is we formed an honest opinion based on what we knew.
Yeah.
That's the defense. That speculation, though, which is territory we normally don't like to get into, especially when it comes to court cases where, you deal with facts and evidence as far as possible.
Yep.
So for whatever reason, he dropped it. Now, of course, he dropped it because his case is probably weak.
Yeah, that's my suspicion as well, coming from the, not lawyer opinion, because why would you drop it? Again, back to what you originally said. If you're asking for a summary judgment, it means you have everything you need to knock over this case.
Yep.
You don't even need the judge to think about it. Hey, here's the evidence that's so strong that it's just going to blow the defense out of the water. But obviously that didn't happen.
No, it didn't. And so now he will be held liable to pay not just for his legal costs, which are presumed to be around the £500,000 mark, but also the defendant's legal costs, which are estimated to be around £250,000. And so that would bring us up to a grand total of around £750,000.
Yeah, just a quarter shy of $1 million.
Yep. And in terms of, Harry did say that he wants to focus on his security case, and that's why he's dropping this one. And I think all of us collectively said, sure, Jan.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't think so. I don't think anyone's falling for that. So how many cases has he got left now?
4.
4. So
Yep.
he had 6 before,
Yes.
because we had the one before this as well.
Yes, where he was successful partially.
Partially successful.
Yes, so now he has 4, one of which is the security case. And I would say also, Harry, if you wanted to focus on the security case, well, why did you launch this one in the first place?
Yeah, it sounds like he was, I think the appropriate term was chucking a tantrum.
Well, the appropriate term for Harry is a vexatious litigant. He is the poster child for that term. Which brings us to the living legend of Aviation Award. Now, I mentioned this very briefly in a video a couple of weeks ago when the news first came out. And I went through the criteria on the website, and I thought it was, it's sad for me to say that I thought it was, in a sense, preposterous, because when you read who is considered a living legend of aviation, it says it's remarkable people, including entrepreneurs, innovators, industry leaders, astronauts, record breakers. You go, right, of course. I mean, you've got the alumni, I suppose, of this award, or the legends. You've got some Dr. Buzz Aldrin. Mm-hmm. You've got some really successful people. I mean, you've already got Jeff Bezos, which is funny because now you can include his fiance, Lauren Sanchez. And there are a lot of really deserving people. But then the award or the criteria just gets destroyed when it goes on to say pilots who have become celebrities and celebrities who have become pilots.
Oh my gosh, talk about adding a line in just so you can sneak the prince in there. My goodness.
It's not just the prince, though. Lauren Sanchez, look, I've said this in the video I first brought this up. Good for her for founding her own company and having this aerial film company, and she's a helicopter pilot herself. Of course, good for her. But a living legend? I mean, is that our bar now for a living legend? It's funny when you mentioned Lauren Sanchez, Jeff Bezos' fiance. She used to be married to this man called Patrick Whitesell, who actually now is a very high-ranking executive at Meghan's, the agency that represents Meghan, WME. So, yeah, kind of like a small world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially given Meghan's husband was in that event with Lauren.
Yeah.
So, now there was an acceptance speech. I couldn't find a full version, and even if I could, I'd probably get a copyright strike. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to play the small portion where Harry brings up his mother, of course, because, she's his meal ticket.
Hi, my mother was Diana, and my name's Harry.
Pretty much. She's his identity, I should say. And because his meal ticket is trashing his family. Oops.
Oops.
Not the same thing. So let's have a listen.
This is nice. Thanks very much, Captain John. Well, I was 1 year old when you danced with my mum. As you told everybody here, you continue to dine out on that probably every single night. But look at us now. It's great. So if we're not going to dance together, we'll fight together.
Do you want to go, or?
I'll let you kick this one off.
Okay. I'm not going to lie. I got the humor in it. When I first watched it, I thought it was funny. Mm-hmm. So my first instinct was, it's funny. He's obviously making jokes about how old John Travolta is.
Yep.
I'm not woke. I'm not PC. I think people can make jokes. But then he's also making jokes about how, your claim to fame is dancing with my mother. To me, I saw it as Harry knows it's ridiculous to even claim that it's John Travolta. I mean,
yeah.
if anything, Princess Diana was the one who was starstruck.
Yeah.
Dancing with him as a young lady. So I thought it was funny. However, People on the internet don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
They think he was being utterly disrespectful. I don't know how much of a friendship he has with John Travolta. People are saying they've been friendly, and that's why he even got the award, because John Travolta is kind of the head of this award.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so they're friendly. I saw it as friendly, cheeky banter between friends, but that's just my opinion. Doesn't make it correct. What do you think?
I just think the irony of him like making that joke of this, oh, that's your claim to fame, dancing with my mother, when Harry's claim to fame is just being born by his mother. And so when you look at John Travolta and you think Grease, Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
There's 2 movies off the top of my head that I can name with John Travolta, amongst many others. So he's a renowned, established actor. He is respected in the industry. And so I think it's fair to say, and I have to qualify all of that because obviously there are celebrities and actors in the industry which don't belong there, but John Travolta is one of those people who's like, a Hollywood legend.
Well, not just that, he's actually a captain. He's a captain, so he's got the stripes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an actual pilot.
Yeah.
So, and he flies planes all the time. He owns planes.
Yeah.
So I have no qualms with John Travolta being, a legend, a living legend of aviation.
Yeah.
The problem is, why did you accept this award when you're probably not qualified? And maybe tell them, hey, there's someone more deserving than me right now in the U.S. military.
Yeah.
How about you give it to them?
Yeah.
People who maybe rescue civilians, like how Prince William does. People who are veterans who've gone to war, and because Harry was just a show prince.
Exactly. And look, if he's going to rock up and, have his freaking pants around his ankles and pretend to be a rapper and do
Play
that.
video games.
If that's what he wants to do, sure. Do that. At the very least, people will be like, oh, he's representing the army. Everyone else who has won this award, it's an insult that Harry's included here.
I think we all know that there are, a lot of people that are far more deserving. But it reminds me of the Ripple of Hope Awards, again, because you know that your family wasn't racist, so you couldn't have stood up to the racism because it didn't exist. And yet you showed up and smiled and flashed your pearly whites and collected the award shamelessly.
Absolutely, because the attention is what they're there for. I mean, funny that they would... he would turn up alone because the one who wants the attention more than anything wasn't there.
Oh, yeah, you reminded me. Yes, let's end off on this. So Meghan was, by all accounts, even I believe their PR team released an official statement or some kind of statement confirming that they will both be there. It'll be their first Beverly Hills carpet together. So not only does she not show up, which is fine by me, I'm glad. I really don't like... it's one of these people, the less I see, the better. But he didn't even go through the red carpet. He went through the back door, and people are saying, well, that's kind of insulting for the people who kind of were expecting you to see you. I don't know who would want to camp out and see Prince Harry. I think that's just some PR fluff.
Yeah, I think so.
But so Meghan's official reason is because one of her kids are sick. Look, if it's true, obviously, I hope the kid gets well soon. But I do have to be the cynic or I should repeat what cynics have been saying, because I did not think this. Cynics have been saying, we were waiting for her to come up with an illness, either for her or her kids, to rival that of Catherine's. And the King's. I don't know if that's what's going on here. It didn't even occur to me. So you let me know in the comments. Let us know. Is that what you think? I think that's a little too cynical, but I've been wrong before.
If we look at this from the lens of when was the last time Meghan told the truth, then I think it's safe to assume that Meghan is lying.
And I just got triggered because he said lens. And that's Meghan's way of talking. So
well,
on that note,
I don't go out of my way to listen to anything she says. Her voice grinds me because it's just like every word that comes out of her mouth is just fake. And
her voice is fake.
Everything's fake. Such a fake person.
Yeah.
How not to be a woman 101.
No, listen, on that note, before I start, because I'm triggered, right? I'm going to start smashing things. I think we'll end it here.
Fair enough.
We've honestly run through all of our topics. So perfect timing to end it here. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
You want to say one more thing? Or?
No, I'm just laughing at that. It's like triggered. Yeah. Has she never said that before?
What?
Triggered?
Oh, she said it about, ambition. I think she thinks ambition is a trigger word for women. It's like, shut up, Megan. It's like Peter from Family Guy. Shut up, Meg.
Yeah. If only we could play a clip right here without getting copyright struck.
I possibly will try to do that. So, let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you for joining us. Hope you have a good week. And I will most likely see you later on in the week in a solo video.
We'll see you then.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.